What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. The sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic. I'm going to talk about what the Eagles offense would look like with or without Zach Ertz, okay? Assessing Nick Sirianni's offensive personnel grouping frequency coming from Indianapolis' system. I'm hearing some things I don't necessarily agree with from the national media. Some parts of it I agree with. Some parts of it I think they're missing the forest for the trees. And a lot of times what you hear is that Nick Sirianni wants to get 3 receivers on the field. That's true. That is definitively true. Because you can go back, you can look at Indianapolis systems, you go back to last year, guys, they were top 10 in three wide receiver utilization, okay? They ran a lot of 11-man. They were 9th overall in the league at 69% overall, 762 plays on the season, 3 receivers on the field. Undeniably true. Obviously, if you move Zach Ertz, clear indicator being here is you're probably going to be more inclined to play a lot more 3 wide receiver sets, 11-man personnel. Not arguing that at all. I think that's true. But I do think there's a mischaracterization going on here with how often Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni's Indianapolis system utilize tight ends. Guys, they're forgetting one key thing here. Indianapolis had a really good tight end play in Mo Alley-Cox, Jack Doyle, Trey Burton, and Togiai, who got signed from the Eagles. Remember, he was the undrafted rookie free agent. The Eagles took a calculated risk to cut him and try to put him on the practice squad, and then Indianapolis claimed him and put him on their active roster. So, it's not like these guys don't use tight ends there. I think what it's easy to do here is that it's easy to look at only 12-man personnel and draw really bad conclusions. Because if you only looked at 12-man personnel, what you're going to see here is 21% utilization from the Indianapolis Colts, which ranked tied 14th overall with Dallas, okay? It was 232 plays on the season. Still upper half of the league, by the way, guys. That means upper half of the league, 2 tight end sets. But obviously top 10 in the league when it comes to 11-man personnel or 3 wide receiver sets. But I think what gets missed here is, like, you take those 2 numbers, the 69% utilization in 11-man, the 21% utilization in 12-man, that's a 90%. 90% of Indianapolis offense came out of 11-man, 3 wide receiver sets, 12-man, two tight end sets. Where'd the other 10% come from? And this is where I think things get interesting, right? Because I personally would love to see more 2 running back sets used in Philadelphia. I would love to see 20, 21, 22, 23-man personnel being used. If you guys don't know what those acronyms mean, your first number is always your running backs, right? So when you're in 0 personnel, it means there's no running backs on the field. When you're in 1 personnel, it means there's no running backs. So 0-1. 2 personnel, 0-2. There's no running backs on the field, guys. When you get to 10-man, 1 running back. 11-man, 1 running back. 12-man, 1 running back. You guys get it? So when you get to the 2s, the 20s, 2 running backs. So 20 means 2 running backs and no tight ends. 21, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. 22, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. 23, 2 running backs, 3 tight ends. Get it? So as I looked at this, guys, and I'm looking over this, I personally would love to see 2 running back sets being utilized. With Kenneth Gainwell being here, you still have the potential of using a guy like Boston Scott on things, because Boston Scott is a good, I think, 3rd running back in that role, or even 4th. I think he can fit that role and play that role really well. Pretty good receiving back, guys. I'm not saying he's a guy you want to use, frequently in terms of running in between the tackles and short yardage goal line situations, but, I mean, let's be real. He's a bit of a bowling ball, guys. I mean, people look at him and say, only 206. He's like 5'6", guys. 5'5", 5'6", 206 is a bowling ball. Like, he's better at that than what people think. He's a really efficient at goal line, actually. But I get wanting to limit his reps there, right? I think that I like the idea of 2 running back sets. Let's get back to the original formula. I told you guys. The Colts, 90%, 11-man and 12-man. 8 of the remaining 10% came out of 13-man personnel frequency groupings. 3 tight end sets, okay? 8%, more than Philly, by the way. Philly was nowhere near 8% at 13-man. That tied 4th overall in the league, guys. They were tied 4th with the Las Vegas Raiders in terms of 13-man personnel utilization. The only teams that were ahead of them were Tennessee was 3rd, the Giants were 2nd, Cleveland was 1st. And then you had the Raiders, and you have the Colts tied for 4th. 8%, man. 8 of that remaining 10%, 13-man. So when you look at multiple, usage of tight ends, whether it's 12-man, 13-man, 23-man, whatever, 22-man, we're talking about almost 30% utilization, okay? Almost 30% of the plays that the Colts were running, they had more than 1 tight end on the field. That's a bigger number than what the media is leading us to believe. So You keep Zach Ertz, you don't keep Zach Ertz. It can affect you different ways, but I don't think it's to the effect that these guys are thinking, right? With Zach Ertz still on the field, yes, I think that you probably see a little bit more utilization towards 12-man. I do believe that to be genuine and true because Zach Ertz is still one of your better receiving threats. If he's still on the roster, he's still one of your 5 better players on this team. No doubt about it, in my opinion. Now, what makes it difficult to assess things and to keep Zach Ertz is that although we can definitely see that this team will probably not shy away from using 3 tight end sets, so you can still have Richard Rodgers on the field, Zach Ertz on the field, and Dallas Goedert, and these guys getting plenty of reps, getting swapped out between 12-man, 11-man, and 13-man personnel. Obviously, in a contract year, we're trying to assess Dallas Goedert. You kind of want him to be the centerpiece, right? You don't want any kind of conflicting thing with Zach Ertz potentially taking snaps away from Dallas Goedert and making the assessment of the long-term future more difficult than it needs to be. That's really the distinguishing line to me, guys, which is Zach Ertz is $12.7 million against the cap this year. If you keep him on your roster, you're paying a number 2 tight end $12.7 million. Might that guy start really eating into your snaps? I think that's the bigger issue here, guys, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think, right? Like I say, guys, I would love to see some more two running back sets. I'm okay with 25 to 30%, somewhere in that area when it comes to like 12-man utilization. Yes, I mean, can you give me 65 to 70% 11-man personnel? I think we're in a good position if you're in that range, right? 65% being a little low, but if you're mixing that in with some two running back sets, keep in mind there's multiple ways of getting 3 wide receivers on the field, right, guys? That gets forgotten. If you're in 2-man personnel, 0-2 personnel, it's 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, and no running backs. Like there's different ways of doing this, guys. It's not all one singular way. I think that sometimes gets left out of the equation. You're in 20-man personnel, you have 2 running backs, you have 3 wide receivers on the field. There are different ways of getting 3 wide receivers on the field, and sometimes I think that gets left out of some of these discussions, guys, in my opinion. But I want to know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think? Like, what do you think happens if Zach Ertz stays on the roster? We've heard the national media's narrative on this. To me, I can live with Zach Ertz on the roster. I can live without him on the roster. I'm okay either way. I'm not trying to force Zach Ertz out of here, but I will say that I do think that because Zach Ertz does not appear to want to be here, for the interest of both parties, I think it's best to kind of separate and part ways right now, guys. It's not because I don't think Zach Ertz can play. I think Zach Ertz is still a tremendous tight end. I think he still has a lot of value in this league. I still think he's got a couple of years left in him. But given what we have here with Richard Rodgers back in the fold, with Jack Stoll looking like a guy that might be able to develop and be something, I think we got enough to have 3 tight ends, and we can keep a guy on the practice squad to bring up and call up in season to be a 4th tight end if need be, right? A Kroon. We have different guys here. Butler. We have Tavares Jackson. Like we got different guys that are already kind of in that developmental stage, if you will, guys. All right, y'all. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Links in the description below. Don't forget to like and comment on the video, guys, so it spikes the algorithm and gets this suggested to other people. Last but not least, if you're not subscribed, I'd love to add you to the community. We talk a lot about film, advanced analytics, all the more difficult, questions and concepts, guys. But in order to do that, guys, I need you to hit the subscribe button. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention, and I'll see y'all on the next video.